Hello, my name is Wade Demur, and this is Rotary Serving Our Community. Each year I take a trip down to Mexico, and we call it a Project Safari, where we actually get to meet and greet a lot of our brothers that actually are Rotarians down in that area. Part of the project fair is to make sure that we have good cooperation, good friendships, and everything established so we understand and know the needs of each of these people in these communities. I have the opportunity of bringing two of those people with me today. I have Karen Glancy and Rob Klug. So welcome, you two.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Glad to be here.
Karen, I'm going to start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born in North Dakota, a small farming community, and got here through marriage and worked side by side with my husband in the dental field for 37 years. When he passed, then I started looking for a small community to live close to my grandchildren, which I ended up in Carpinteria. My husband had been involved in Rotary for 37 years, and once I settled into my home, I felt the need for community involvement. And because of your television show, inviting people to Carpinteria Morning Rotary, I went, and here I am.
Wow, thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Quite fascinating. Rob, how about you? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and moved shortly thereafter to the coast and lived up and down the central coast of California most of my life. I've settled in Lompoc, California, and owner and operator of Master Repair Service, a general contracting business in Lompoc.
Okay.
And I got involved in Rotary to, well, get more involved in my community and do good things in our community. And well, the community has kind of grown from that, and now I'm trying to be more involved in not only our community, but around the world.
Great, sounds good. Now, what got you into the international service part? For example, this trip was something fairly unique.
Well, I got kind of hooked when I went to the first international conference in, trip blank, damn it. International conference overseas, and then from there I've gone to other excursions along with it, and this is another one along those same directions.
Got it. Was that Bangkok you went to?
It was Bangkok, yeah.
It was Bangkok,
Thailand.
because I remember seeing you.
Thailand,
that
yes.
one.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. And how about you? What brought you into international service?
You did. You did. I'm just very impressed with the outreach and the stories that you presented at our Rotary Club of the need for Rotary internationally.
Very true. Now, don't know if you both realize this, but less than 10% of all Rotarians actually get to experience an international project or see what it's like. So I'm glad you two had the opportunity to go with me on this one. The trip was fairly short. We went to 5 different states, the state of Sinaloa, Querétaro, Guanajuato, Jalisco, and Michoacan. And this was in 6 days, so we were everywhere. How did you find the trip? Was it fairly grueling?
It was nonstop. It was the most fun trip I've ever had, where I didn't really get to see anything except the people. And the people are just so wonderful. It was such a lovely experience. It moves your soul.
Very true. Very true. How about you, Rob?
It was an extremely fast-paced trip. We were on the go. It seemed like we were transferring to another vehicle or meeting a new group of people every few hours. But the people are extremely hospitable and friendly, and just wanted to expose you to what's going on in their community, their lifestyle, and their local environments and so forth. And I found the people to be phenomenal.
That's very true. And it took us about a year actually to organize this trip, believe it or not. And we started with 8 clubs, and I told them if any other clubs were interested and we could squeeze them in, we would. And we ended up with actually visiting and seeing 18 different clubs. So that's why it was kind of a whirlwind pace, to say the least. Let's start with the first picture, because we have a few pictures here. The first picture shows us, and actually as the welcoming group that came in from Mexico. This is a team that came in from Lagos de Moreno. And your experience, what did you think about that one, Rob?
Well, I didn't. I expected to find a small sign when we showed up, the Rotary or something in that version. To find a full-size banner with a bunch of people standing there was like, whoa, okay.
Felt like a movie star, didn't you?
Yes, we're moving up in the world here.
How about you, Karen? Same thing?
Yes, it was quite a surprise. And all the people behind them that were just cheering us on. It really was a very warm, wonderful feeling.
It really was. I agree with you on that one. The next picture we have is a picture of one of the club meetings. I believe that was the first club we went to. Karen, let's start with you on this one. What did you think about the way that they operate? Is differences and
There
what was
are
unique?
differences. One of the things that surprised me in Mexico is the number of women that are in Rotary there. I kind of didn't expect to see that, but there are as many women and some as presidents running things. It was very wonderful to see.
True. How about you, Rob?
One thing I found quite different from the United States is they're very formal in their meetings and their attire in most clubs. Most of our clubs here that I visited here in the States are pretty casual and more relaxed attire.
True. Generally speaking, I hate to say it, but that is usually the norm over there. I think they dressed up and were a little bit more formal because we were treated more as guests than we were as Rotarians, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the uniqueness of that. The next picture we have is a picture with myself and the mayor, and that was also in Lagos de Moreno. And you both had an opportunity to sit in with us on that one and were presented with the mayor's gifts items. What did you think about that experience?
I just really enjoyed the book he gave us. It covered all the churches of Lagos. They're very ornate, very beautiful. They were all very warm and welcoming. It was quite a haul.
True, very true. How about you, Rob?
The book was great because we didn't have the opportunity to go out and see all these churches and the beautiful surroundings of the area. So it gave us a little bit more exposure to their community. So that was nice.
Very nice.
Nice thing.
And I don't know if both of you heard of that, but actually the chambers that we actually had the meeting in, 100 years ago, that was a women's prison cell. And they had converted that into the chamber council. It was beautiful, though. I don't know how they did it, but came out quite nice. The next picture we have is one of the other clubs we met. Rob, you want to tell us a little bit about this one? Do you remember?
This is was in Lyon again, and it was their club meeting. Again, the people are just everywhere we went. The people are so friendly, just welcoming and just open arms.
Very true. How about you, Karen?
Oh, the same experience. It was interesting. We would start at 7 in the morning. Every club that we saw would feed us. Then we would hear their presentation of a project. And I remember one night we finished eating the last meal at midnight.
That's right. And we were off and running at 7 in the morning, if
Yes.
I recall.
Yeah.
Or earlier.
Or earlier. This picture also has a gentleman to the left. He's a doctor, and his wife is the second one from the left seated. They were the ones that actually took care of Roxanne. When Roxanne was sick, she had food poisoning, was actually in the hotel for 5 days straight. They weren't going to put her in the hospital, so they gave her 24-hour care at the hotel while we were staying there. This is about 2 years ago. Yeah, it was nice. The next picture is another formal meeting, and this is the one with the mayor. Rob, tell us a little bit if you recall that one.
I think that was in Cortazar.
Correct.
And it was in their cultural center, which was a beautiful facility. Showed much of the local culture and the pyramids and so forth of their area, and they had dancers there. And again, wonderful little gifts that they'd given us of these animals made of frosting, I guess you want to call it, which were very ornate.
Oh, the sugar sculptures.
The sugar sculptures. That's correct. The next one, Karen, we'll have you talk about this one here. This was in front of, I believe it was a library?
It was a little grade school and a storage room that they were hoping to make into a library. It was quite small, but once they get enough money to refurbish it, it looks like it'll be just perfect for those kids. It looked like it would make a very lovely little library.
Good, good. Then the next picture actually was where we stayed at in Lagos, and you could see it was raining that evening, but evening light was quite nice. It was a beautiful hotel. One of the advantages we have visiting with them is how nice it actually is. Am I out of sequence here?
Yes, that's okay.
Okay. The next picture we have is, I did miss one, okay.
Roxanne's.
Yep, okay, we'll jump back to that one then. Let's go ahead and talk about the salon in Pátzcuaro. Karen, you want to go on that one?
Oh, the salon in Pátzcuaro. I had not known this, but Wade and his wife had gone there many times and had really become family to this Rotary Club. And so they honored Wade's wife with a plaque and a salon for having community functions so that the love of her would always be remembered. And it was very touching, very, very lovely. They spent all day cooking for us. It was just an incredible meal, and we all had just such a wonderful time.
Thank you. Rob, any comments on that one?
It was extremely touching, the connection between Wade and Roxanne and the club, and how much they truly loved you both. So
It was, again, quite touching. Had a rough time getting by that one, but we did quite well, and it was, well, that club I've worked with for probably 15 years, close to 15 years now, so it's quite a partnership. And again, one of the reasons I do these international trips is to see old friends. It's a reunion, actually. So when we go to help them out, it's family helping family. Next picture. Rob, you want to cover that one?
that was in, we're with the Puerto Indio,
Yes.
and they were showing us their project that they were working on, trying to work on there and eating a meal. As it was a drug rehabilitation clinic they were trying to
Correct.
bring forth.
And that was with the mayor, and also the gentleman in the middle there with me is the governor, current governor, Ubaldo. What did you think about the food?
Oh, the food was wonderful.
We ate a lot of food, I know that.
Yes. Yeah, we were always eating.
It always seems the next thing we're doing is eating again.
That's right. And then the bottom picture, the next picture we have is a picture actually with myself and the mayor of Tototlan, Jalisco. So we will be doing and initiating a project with them. So now we're back on track here. The picture we have now is the rain and where we stayed at in Lagos de Moreno. We have the next picture is a picture showing a clinic. Karen, you want to talk about that one?
Yes, that was a physical therapy clinic for people that had either been injured or had disabilities or born with disabilities. And one of the things that impressed me the most was their sensory room for little children. There's quite a need. It helps them move along so much better so that they're not a drain on society. The lady that ran this clinic was special. You just saw the spirit in her the minute you saw her eyes. It was very moving.
Very true. They all seem to have quite a passion for that.
Yes.
The next picture we have is a picture of a new clinic that's actually been opened up. And what's unique about this one, the clinic is beautiful. They did a great job with it, but it didn't have staffing. They had yet to bring in the people to do the different departments. You want to talk about that one real quick, Karen? Something that you noticed on that, or is there anything that jumped out at you on that project?
Well, yes, it was a brand new building. It was well appointed. They seemed to have almost everything they needed except patients. It was for children, and I'll look forward to seeing that one again later on.
Very true.
See how they've done.
What else is unique about that? They had everything there but the equipment also. So that's
Yeah.
probably why the patients weren't available. Next picture we have is a picture of, actually, Rob, why don't you go over this one? You probably remember that one.
This is a gentleman in a hospital in Celaya who was suffering from wounds because of his diabetes. And they were looking for a special machine to treat the diabetic wounds. He was remarkably calm, in my opinion, for a gentleman who was facing losing his leg the next day.
Mm-hmm. True. And I think it was an ultrasound machine, right?
Yes,
That's
a
what
special
Yes.
type of ultrasound.
Okay, okay. And then the next picture, Karen, on this one?
Oh, these are the firemen. That was so lovely. They're all volunteer. One of the gentlemen in the picture, and I can't see him right off with these
Okay.
glasses, but he used his own money to build and supply this fire department of volunteers. It was very lovely seeing them, and a few people actually got to slide down the pole.
Including Rob.
I did.
I think that gentleman that you're talking about is actually just to the left of Rob in the picture. Actually, his daughter's a Rotarian.
Yes.
Yeah, that's nice. And they also gave us patches. We are now honorary members of their fire department.
Oh, yes. I'm putting that one on my backpack.
Right, right. And Rob, you actually went down the slide, you and Debbie.
Not slide, a pole.
Pole.
And it
You
was
slid down the pole.
it was wonderful. We don't have those kind of chances here in the States very often to do this type of thing, so that was
True.
great.
Very true. Great. Next picture we have is an event with the banner exchange. Rob, why don't you go over that one? real
That
quick?
was in Cortazar, Celaya clubs. They were chartering a new Rotary club. And it was quite moving to see the excitement of the kids and the club and the excited Rotary parents too, because quite a number of the Rotarians, their children were joining the Rotary club. So
That is very
it was a very exciting time.
good. Next picture, Karen, have you go because I believe it's the same event.
Yes, that was the same event, and here you have all the Rotaract new members. They were all so excited and formally dressed, and we had some folkloria dancers, Spanish. It was just beautiful. It was really fun watching you pin the Rotary pennants. Many of even the boys had tears in their eyes.
True, very true.
It was beautiful.
We did 16 of them that day, so it was very nice. And I was fortunate that my governor buddy actually invited me up to help out with that. So that was a very nice touch. In the picture also, you should probably point out some of the rest of the members in our team. Doralee Jacobson, who is the one seated to the left, and also Debbie Murphy, who is dead center. She was with us also with this trip, but we didn't have a lot of room for everybody here, so you guys got selected. Next picture, Karen.
Well, this lovely lady is a Rotarian of one of Celaya Club, and all the ladies there wore their scarves beautifully tied, and even flowers or cascading sashes. And so she spent a good half hour teaching us how to tie scarves at one of the other meals that we had.
And the
one
scarf,
of the many.
And the scarves came from?
The scarves came. They were in Celaya. They did gift us some scarves.
They gifted to you. It's a
Yes.
good way to learn how to do the knots.
Yes,
That was really nice of them.
very.
Next picture we have is one of the project sites. Rob, we'll start with you on this one.
It's in Pátzcuaro, and the local club had heard through a news article, I believe, about a family that was in need, and they had started helping this family out, and over a period of time, and they had a relationship had grown with this family. So they actually got a piece of land donated, and then built a house in 3 weeks, a remarkable period of time. For this family, and this was the day they were going to present this family their house. They had no clue they were getting a house that day,
Yep.
which was pretty remarkable.
That is. Karen, we'll go over the next picture with you.
Okay, well, this is the couple in their house after being presented, and they were sort of in a quandary as to what to do with the key because they'd never had a key before, and they actually had never had a door before on their house.
Right.
And so it was very magical to watch the realization of we have a real house.
That is true. It was nice. It was quite touching, actually. Next picture we have, Rob, I want you to go over this one here. One of the special cases of this project.
This was their youngest daughter. She was about 4 years old, and she had Down syndrome. But she also was afflicted with cataracts. So they were trying to raise money to get her cataracts taken care of so she could see.
Quite a touching story, and this is for the audience, actually. Rob, it was $2,000 for both eyes. Rob here actually contributed for one of those, and then again, that was just on the spur, on the moment, because of the benefits that he's done. I've had the opportunity to work with Rob a number of times, and I've seen this passion come out a number of times, and quite the Rotarian. Rob, thank you for that.
Thank you, Wade.
Appreciated that, as did the family, and it's going to change that girl's life.
It will, and the future is bright for her.
Correct, correct. Next picture we have, Karen. Did you get to see that one?
I did, I did. It was the walls were standing, but the roof had fallen in, and people were still living there. It had been raining quite a lot. They had the tail end of that hurricane was coming over. So for most of the week that we were there, we got rain. And people were living under this tar paper covering a bunch of rags that they were using for beds, and everything was wet. It was one of those moments where you realize how fortunate we are and how much we really need to help people.
True. Next picture we have, why don't I have you go with that one there too, Karen? You talk about what that event was.
Oh, this was lovely. This was part of the drug rehabilitation at Parundio. And they'd taken us to a glass blowing school that they'd started for the addicts to get away from the drugs and learn a little bit of a craft. And then they're making these beautiful Christmas bulbs. And we all had a lot of fun making our own tiny little blown glass bulb, which was so much more difficult than I thought it would be.
Very true.
But it was really fun.
It was a good one. Next picture we have is just one of the nightscapes in Mexico, and nights are great over there. I mean, you can always find something to do and have a good time there. The next pictures, starting with, is campus. Rob, why don't you go over this series? We got about 3 pictures there.
It was a University of Technology in Parundio that the local Rotary Club had helped build, which was an amazing facility. It was kind of out in the boonies, but it was just an amazing facility popping out of the landscape there. And they were putting kids through 5-year degrees, and for a remarkably low cost. I mean, I was just astonished that they were able to put these kids through school for so little money.
What was it, like $300 for a 5-year degree?
It was $300. What they had sold, the conversion, if we did it correctly, was $300 for a 5-year degree in chemical engineering.
That is amazing. What else is unique about that? It was funded almost exclusively by the Rotary Club of Puruandiro, Purupecha, who they are 60 members strong, and they had built this whole thing on their own and actually keeping it going. So that was a very interesting project, and I thought quite unique only because a club of 16 could do so much. They're actually funding all these people, 700 graduates from what I recall.
I think that was right.
Yeah, yeah. Rob, here's another one for you.
Well, we were at another sensory school, and I was playing with a young man who was using Play-Doh to make little balls with his hands so he could get the coordination of rolling a ball with his fingers. And I got him to play patty cakes a little bit with me.
That was good.
He had had surgery on his elbow.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yeah. And then I put this one picture in here only because it sounds like a lot of work. But we had little times and moments where we actually got to cut loose a little bit, and this was one of them. So
Yes.
the clubs put together always did a really good job of hosting us, I would say.
Yeah, the entertainment was very lovely. We'd had a lovely afternoon dinner, one of many, and they brought in this mariachi that everyone convinced should sing to me. And so I gave him a little kiss.
There you go. That was nice. Next picture we have actually shows the rainy seasons, what you went through. Generally speaking, when I go to Mexico, it's pretty arid, but it was so green from this one trip. It was amazing, and everywhere you went had greenery. The last picture we have is with the Rotary Club of Tototlan, Jalisco, and this is where we're going to be doing a water project with Dora Lee's club. Any comments on that?
You know, I was so surprised that, I mean, you could really see the water, more so than, say, dirty dishwater. And so I was glad to be there and be part of helping them to achieve drinkable water.
True, that is true. And that project's going to benefit 12 to 13,000 people, so it's going to be a big project. How about you, Rob?
It was nice because we didn't see a lot of projects that were getting ready to kick off. We saw projects that they'd like to do. This one was actually getting ready to kick off, and we're actually getting a project on the ground and going. So that was a very nice experience.
Great, great. So after this trip, you guys ready to go back?
Oh,
Let's go.
certainly.
What do you think about the opportunity? Was it life-changing for either of you?
It was very life-changing for me. Realizing how much I have is it's important.
It is. And Rob?
It is very life-changing. I've had this opportunity to go on these types of trips a couple of times, and every time I go, it really makes you very humble and makes you really appreciate what we have here and what we've been able to accomplish and what we can help accomplish throughout the world.
That's very true. And again, thank you both for joining us. That's one thing that so many Rotarians don't get to see and experience is the friendships, the partnerships, what Rotary's doing around the world. And to actually then be able to bond with them, it's almost like another club within a club. You become that close, social members. Looking forward to having you guys next time on the next trip. And with that, everybody, thank you very much for joining us. Take a look at international service. It's one area where it's fascinating. There are so many Rotarians out there waiting to have new friendships and to create new bonds so more things get done within the community. And with that, we'll see you next time.